Chapter 8. It was Monday night, and Sierra was inspecting herself in the mirror as she prepared for her date. Despite what she had told herself before, she had started speaking to a new guy on Tinder last night when she got home from work, and he had asked her out on a dinner date tonight. Even though she knew she would likely regret it, Sierra had said yes. Plus, he was buying, and she was really ready to eat something that wasn't a sandwich that she didn't have to cook herself. They were meeting at a pizza cafe. Sierra loved pizza. Adjusting the collar of her skin-tight black turtleneck shirt, she made sure it was even as she hung a pair of small silver hoops from her ears. Her dark hair fell in waves past her shoulders and over her average-sized breasts. Thanks to the student diet of sandwiches and skipped meals, Sierra's stomach was flat. But due to her Hispanic heritage, she had hips that meant she had to wear form-fitting clothes or risk looking like she was trying to hide a pregnancy. The black sweater she had chosen fit the bill perfectly, clinging to her curves to show them off. Paired with dark blue skinny jeans and knee-high black leather boots, Sierra knew she looked good. Her date, whose name was Paul, had seemed like good company during their text conversation last night, and she hoped that he proved to be the same charismatic guy in person, but she wasn't holding her breath. Grabbing her small clutch purse, which usually lived inside her messenger bag, Sierra slipped on her gray peacoat and headed out to the restaurant, which was only 15 minutes by foot from her home. That was the best part about living in the center of Dublin. Everything was close, and there was no need to even consider driving a car. She arrived at the restaurant on time and found Paul right away, as he had taken it upon himself to arrive early, it appeared. He didn't look exactly like his picture. He had blonde hair and blue eyes. While he wasn't as fit as other men, Aidan, her mind reminded her even as she pushed the thought aside, he was lean and attractive. He had commandeered a table for two in the corner, and Sierra slid into the empty seat across from him. "You must be Paul," she said with a smile on her face. Paul's eyes roamed over her as he returned her smile.
I am. And you, Miss Sierra, look just like your photo. I'm impressed.
While it wasn't the best greeting and bordered on those flimsy compliments Sierra hated, she liked that he had been on time, unlike other people she had been on a date with recently. Eowyn. "Thanks, I guess." Paul placed a hand on hers.
I'm so sorry if I offended you. I'm very direct. I can scare girls away sometimes, so I apologize in advance.
Sierra looked down at his hand resting on hers and decided she didn't hate the warmth that radiated from his skin onto hers. "No worries. I'm also direct."
Awesome.
He picked up the menu.
All we have to do now is, pick a pizza. What do you like? You're American, right?
Sierra picked up her own menu, her eyes falling on the American pizza on the menu, which was loaded with every kind of meat imaginable. It was typical for them to assume all Americans love meat. "I am, but I am actually vegetarian. So if we could pick something with less meat or do half and half, that would be great." Paul's eyes met Sierra's.
No worries. I'm not a big meat eater anyway. Why don't we get the veggie delight?
His slight Irish accent made her smile. It was so endearing. "Sounds amazing."
What's done?
He waved to a waitress who quickly came over to take their order. Paul ordered a large veggie delight pizza and a plate to split it. Sierra ordered a water to drink, and Paul ordered a beer. After the waitress left, he turned back to her.
I'm glad you like pizza.
Sierra shrugged. "I'm pretty sure if you don't like pizza, they kick you out of America. It's a prerequisite to living there." Paul laughed.
Is there any culture where not liking pizza is acceptable?
She thought for a moment. "Probably not, now that I think of it." The conversation lulled for a moment, but Paul was quick to pick it back up before awkwardness could overtake the air between them.
So, I know you're a student. What are you studying?
Sierra leaned her chin on her hand. "Age and fragility. You finished your studies a couple of years ago, right?" He nodded, clearly impressed that she had read his profile.
Yes, I'm 28 now. Finished my bachelor's a couple of years ago. I'm working full-time right now as a graphic designer. But enough about me. Tell me about your studies.
Sierra opened her mouth to answer him when a firm hand landed on the table between them with a thump. Both she and Paul looked up in shock, only for Sierra to, unfortunately, recognize the man in the black beanie putting a large hand on their cozy table. Aoden, she said solemnly. What was he doing here? Had she somehow summoned him when she had thought his name just a few moments before?
Can I talk to you outside?
He motioned to the door of the pizza place. Sierra looked at Paul, who she could see was quickly beginning to rethink his date with her. Great. He likely thought Aoden was an ex or some other type of baggage he didn't want to deal with, and she was just starting to like him. Either way, Aoden had ruined their cadence and likely the date. She sighed. Yes, one moment. Aoden stalked toward the door as she looked at Paul, hoping he would understand. He's my coworker. Let me find out what he wants. Paul nodded, but his eyes were no longer lit up like they had been before Aoden slammed his hand on their table. Sierra slipped on her jacket and walked toward the door. Aoden held it open for her as they stepped out into the night. Sierra turned and watched the door close before she spun toward Aoden and let him have every ounce of fury that had been building under her skin this past week. What the fuck do you think you are doing? Aoden seethed.
What am I doing? What are you doing out with a man like that?
He motioned to the door. His face held emotion for once, lips poised in a snarl of sorts while his eyebrows scrunched in anger. Sierra had to admit, he actually looked kind of attractive. Brushing off that thought, Sierra was quick to continue her rampage. What am I doing? She motioned between them with her finger. Are nothing. Absolutely nothing. I am my own person and I can date whoever I want. He opened his mouth to answer, but before he could say anything, she cut in again. You know what? I don't owe you anything, not even this argument. We spoke like 6 sentences to each other and had one failed date. You have no right to be... Before she could say anything else, Aoden was pushing her up against the wall with his muscular frame, his full lips pressing onto hers. For a second, Sierra was so shocked that all she could do was stand there, his mouth moving forcefully against hers. But it was just a second, and then she was back to her fury, gathering her strength and pushing him off her. He took a step back, breathing heavily, and she regained her footing now that he was no longer pressed against her. She looked down and quickly adjusted her jacket before looking up to bring her eyes to his. She knew the shock was evident in her eyes, but it became even more pronounced when she noticed his eyes were still trained on her lips, and whatever anger had been occupying his face was now replaced with another emotion that Sierra couldn't quite read. She thought of what to say, expletives coming to the forefront of her mind, but as the silence between them grew, she began to feel awkward, making it even more difficult to know how to navigate the situation. Why the fuck was Aoden kissing her, and why did she sort of like it? Then she did the only thing she could think to do, and that was spin on her heel and re-enter the restaurant, sliding down into the seat in front of Paul, trying to keep her breathing calm so she wouldn't alarm him. Aoden, thankfully, didn't follow.